guests there, and they didn't even have to move the microphone. It was picking up both of their voices. So we come in today, and he has 3 of them set up. So he's going top of the line with everything, and this studio is going to be a real. He'll be able, the way he's setting it up, he'll have a board op over there, but he'll be able to do the same thing over here, the same thing of being a board op from right here, or people could actually be sitting here while we're recording and be watching it on the TV screen.
Oh wow!
And the plans that he has, because he's created this radio station, center right dot live, and that's the name of the radio.
That's where you can listen to it. The actual station is Center Right Radio, and that's what he's calling it.
Yeah, he's calling it.
So we're the only show right now, but he's going to be expanding it. He's really done tremendous things. It's unfortunate we can't do it through the website now, but that's okay.
And
he's in Colombia.
And you see, he puts guests right there. He puts hosts right here. He sets up everything. When you come in, it's already set up. The only thing we set up today was the YouTube, because he's not here, and that picks up. That's what films the YouTube right there. But he operates that himself, and we didn't want to mess with that part of the operation.
How's my leg, Sonia?
Last week he had YouTube. The film, it was filming YouTube, and it was on the screen there. You won't see that today because we got the portable. We went old style with the YouTube. You'll still see it on the YouTube, but not with the real nice camera.
Okay.
So you guys might want to consider, if you have to do commercials in the future for your campaign, talking to Brandon, and he could probably set you guys up with nice commercials and stuff.
He's got a green screen too.
And see, he puts a green screen right here. We did it one day because he brought us in to show us his setup. He had the green screen right here. He had that, and then he has a teleprompter.
We're on
That's
Facebook
that,
too?
thing
Just 8 seconds.
If you don't want anything on there public, don't say it.
Oh yeah.
Post.
There you go.
The teleprompter. Alice sat on the chair. Alice sat on the chair. He had that thing running with this green screen, and it showed like the city of Phoenix in the background, looking out the window. And she looked at it. She was able to read the teleprompter. It didn't even look like she was reading the teleprompter.
He fed it through his cell phone. So it was really cool. So I said, hey,
That's
this is the Chips and Salsa show. La, 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 la.
That's this thing right here.
That's advanced.
He's really
This thing right here.
George, I could move the chair, dude.
Oh, this thing right here. That's a teleprompter.
He's so excited.
And it goes on the. It goes over that, and all you see is the words coming up, and it's so cool.
How are we doing on time, Miss Sonia?
9 seconds.
Okay. Well,
Per satellite time.
Per satellite. Do I have to move this closer?
Actually, yeah, 1/1000th of a second.
good?
We're going to do a bunch of housekeeping, then we'll bring you on, so just stay tuned.
guys ready to go whenever.
Okay, hey, you know what's a little different today? We don't have our music. We should probably just get the music. Can you sing, George? I don't know.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. This is the Chips and Salsa Show, Saturday, 4 p.m. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Alice Lara, and also
Jorge.
the Alacran.
Alacran.
Scorpion King. He's here, Don Jorge. We're here every Saturday to do the Chips and Salsa Show. Thank you, Chipsters, for listening. We're so excited. Today's going to be a busy, very, very full day. Now, if you're looking for us, this is brand new. We're on Center Right Radio. Sonia is working hard to try to get us on centerright.live, but we're having a few technical difficulties. No worries, because you can still watch us here on Facebook, or you can also YouTube.
We're on YouTube under Sonia Salsa S. Sonia Salsa S. You have to type that in once you go to YouTube, and you watch all our videos that we have on YouTube. We have quite a few. And let's go to the Chips and Salsa Show, which you already are because you wouldn't be...
Probably so, yeah. Got all kinds of stuff, our cocotazos, headlines, a praise point, and everything. And we have Congressman Raul Grijalva.
Alba, that's socialist.
Grijalva, yeah. Okay, so let's see. George, let's get started. You know what? I want to give some birthday shout-outs. I wrote these down because he's actually my cousin-in-law, Phil Kingsbury, and he's always followed us and supported us. I want to wish him a happy birthday today. Happy birthday, Phil. I won't give you your age, but he is, get this, he's a Republican in California. Woo!
Ooh.
Yeah, he's a good conservative Republican. Also, a very, very popular Republican and one of my favorites, I have down that today is Ben Shapiro's birthday. I love that guy.
Who?
Ben Shapiro.
Oh, it's his birthday.
Yeah. And follow him. I steal a lot of stuff from his Facebook site. He's always got some good stuff going. He talks so fast, I think because his brain works so fast, and mine works so slow. So it's nice to just stop it, and then I rewind it back. All right. We also have, let's see, you know what, George? Do you want to talk about, well, we got to talk about that S-hole story. But what we might do is get more into that with Sergio. But let's talk about what you and I did today, man. This is an exciting
I know.
day.
We were at a MCR, Maricopa County Republicans mandatory meeting. Every year, the Maricopa County Republicans have a mandatory meeting, which is for Maricopa County, and it's a gathering of all the legislative districts, and we have over 20 legislative districts. It's one of the largest counties, I guess,
in the country.
in the country.
It is.
So we meet, and it's a mandatory meeting, and we either vote in candidates running for office, or we vote in resolutions, and it's like a convention. It's like a mini convention. And it's great. You see, Governor Ducey was our keynote speaker, and Phil Montgomery, and all.
Bill Montgomery? You're thinking about Phil Montgomery.
Yeah, Bill Montgomery.
He's our county attorney, Bill Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. And Congressman Stryker, Congressman Biggs. We'll get it together.
I'll be your backup.
And out in the courtyard, all the candidates running for office had tables, so you got to meet different candidates, and it was a plethora of candidates.
Boy, is that not the case, or what? And those are always fun. And you know, the really cool thing too, I want to give special kudos to Chris Herring. Chris Herring is the chairman of Maricopa County Republicans.
He did a great job.
Smooth, everything was on time, punctual, taken care of. A lot of you maybe don't have the experience of going to something like this, but they can get messy because you have to deal with the Robert's Rules of Orders and different things. You got to make sure you have a good parliamentarian. And I just want to give special extra kudos to Chris Herring. He just did a wonderful job, and his team also. You know, Secretary Cindy Casaus, who was up there also.
Yep.
And Lisa Gray is the executive director.
Lisa Gray did a fantastic job. She kind of put all the parts together and made it work.
Yeah, and also, George, you're up there too. You assist Alberto Gutierrez.
Yeah, I was assisting with security, and assisting Alberto Gutierrez with security, and everything went flawless.
He is the sergeant at arms, and you're the assistant sergeant at arms.
I'm assistant sergeant of arms for the state.
And you got away with the security went well. You didn't have any mishaps or
we
any
didn't
threats.
have to say security.
Did you hear that Hawaii had a false alarm?
Oh, that was crazy. They said that a missile was headed toward the government, I guess. Somebody told them that the missile was headed towards Hawaii, and it actually, people got scared.
What I heard, the story was, because we were there, so you don't have time to read everything, but my good friend Chris Merle said that what happened is they were testing the alert system, and by accident, it went off. So it sent people into a panic.
That should never have happened.
And it should never have happened. That was, especially in Hawaii. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that would have scared the bejesus out of me.
The bejesus, yeah, and everything else. Absolutely. So we're glad everybody's safe and sound there. Do you want to talk about, let's see, what else do we want to get all our cleaning out of here? Get our housekeeping.
Didn't Trump say something?
You want to talk about the S-hole? Or do we want to bring in, you know what, maybe let's go ahead, introduce Sergio, and I'm going to propose, we have Democratic Representative Al Green. He launches a second effort to impeach Trump.
He needs a cocotazo and a half.
This is a crazy one. I'm going to read this one, then I'm going to let you continue. Okay. But doctors issue warning over dangerous social media challenge, eating Tide Pods. This is the laundry detergent, those little plastic pods that you throw in to do your laundry. That's a thing now. They're on video, and they're eating these pods. Now, that is a super cocotazo.
A super cocotazo. What a cocotazo is in Latino, Puerto Rican, you get a little knock up upside the back of your head when you got out of line or you did something stupid. Your parents just had a thing of just tapping the back of your head, and then it got to where you get a slipper coming from across the room.
Chancla.
Chanclatazo.
Chanclazo. Yeah, Sergio's laughing. He knows. You know what? Is that why you don't have hair? No, I'm teasing.
Too many chanclas above the head. No, but that's what a cocotazo is. And we give a cocotazo award every week. And this week we have 9. We had number 3, Nancy Pelosi, under fire from fellow Democrats for five white guys comment. I guess
she talked about 5 white guys. It's okay for Democrats to do stuff, but we're the racists.
Yeah, but we're the racists.
Republicans are racist.
Number 4, woman takes Christmas tree.
No, the Christmas tree.
Oh, Christmas. Christmas. Okay. She takes a Christmas tree back to Costco because it died out, and she gets her refund. They actually gave her refund.
You know what? I love Costco.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
But I don't think I take my dried
and this was 10 days after the 25th that she took it back. Number 5, distributing allegations.
Disturbing. You want me to read them?
Yeah, you want to read.
Disturbing allegations emerge as a list of accusers grows against actor James Franco. Number 6, Robert De Niro lambasts Trump in speech awards at Gala. Did you guys see that? That was an F word here and there. Oh my God, it was awful. Then number 7, The Weeknd. The Weeknd? Is it Weeknd? Parts ways with H&M over racially insensitive ad. A little black boy wears monkey, coolest monkey.
In the jungle sweater.
In the jungle sweater. Collest. It's Collest? Is it Collest?
I like
okay,
number 8.
it's just a misspelling. I'm sorry about that. Coolest monkey in the jungle sweater. Number 8, attempted robbery at a Chinese restaurant is foiled due to the language barrier. That's hysterical. You got to read that one. These are all on our
Number
Facebook
9,
site.
I posted that one. That Oprah's solution to racism: old white people just have to die.
Old white people just have to die.
Okay, and she's wants to be the next president. Come on.
All right, so we're going to bring on our
More
guest,
white people.
introduce him, and then we're going to play the Prather Point.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show, Sergio Arellano.
Thank you very much, George, Alice. It's great to be here. I've been wanting to come to the Chips and Salsa Show for years now. Years. And it's like, whenever you're up here on a weekend, Sergio, we'd love to hear from you. And, you know, geez, I'm not from Phoenix, but I will be here more often. And it's just a pleasure and an honor to be in here with Chips and Salsa. Thank you very much.
We're so happy to have you here. By the way, and I need to do this, maybe I'll do this during the Prather Point, but please go to our Chips and Salsa Show, or you're watching it on Facebook, and share this broadcast. Share it to your own Facebook page, or if you're on other pages or groups, because that's how we spread the word. So we have Sergio Arellano on today because he's running, what's the district number? Is it?
I'm running in Congressional District 3.
3, okay. And
3. I belong to 3.
That's yours. Woo.
And Sergio, you have to tell us what you would do to better things in CD3, because all they've had for all these years has been Mr. Grijalva, and people are so tired of him, and people are so, they didn't think there was a choice beyond him, because every time somebody ran against him, he'd win.
And we're going to keep the audience in suspense on that, because we're going to play the Prather Point, and then we're going to talk to Sergio about all of this good stuff. You do not want to miss it. And please, if you want to go on Facebook and want to ask Sergio a question, you know, he's here. We have him for the whole hour. He can swing this. All right. George, are we ready?
I can swing it, I can wing it, I can do it all.
Right on.
I'm ready.
We're going to listen to the Prather Point, and this is our good friend Jeff Prather. He's a fast and furious whistleblower. He's behind the scenes. He always gives us great stuff every week. Here we go. We're going to kind of do this a little antiquated with my phone, but I think it's going to work.
No, you're not going to hear it from the propaganda press and the deep state connected media, but the president has ordered the intelligence community to develop new rules to handle requests from government officials who want to reveal the identities of U.S. citizens collected through foreign surveillance. We're talking about the FISA here, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And I can tell you, as a retired Army intelligence officer, as a former Defense Intelligence Agency collector, as a former Drug Enforcement Administration special agent, that I am intimately familiar with these systems. And they began years ago, and I certainly cannot say everything I know about these, based upon listening and monitoring conversations of dangers to the United States. However, that has grown out of control Under President Bush, the president could authorize for a year warrantless surveillance of phones if required, and that was involving the federal law enforcement agencies. For example, my old agency, the DEA, has a lot of dealings in South America and the East because a lot of the drugs, opium and cocaine and marijuana, come from those areas. And so that was legitimate. However, there became an unholy alliance between federal law enforcement and the intelligence community. It's still going on. And then under President Obama, it really became a terrible abuse of power in that Susan Rice, Benghazi is a video, remember, lied outrightly about that to all the deep state media outlets as well. Then decided to unmask members of the Trump campaign. That goes into the whole Trump-Russia investigation. Very similar to what they did to me. And so now President Trump is reasonably saying that he's going to go ahead and re-sign that act because it's important for the country, but that he is going to require the Intelligence Committee and the Department of Justice, and especially government officials from other areas, because Susan Rice should not have had that right in the first place, to unmask Americans. And that's a good thing, a step in the right direction, just like the 2015 reform of the FISA Act. For more Prather, you can go to pratherpoint.com. If you want to get me to speak or attend one of my upcoming courses, warriorschool.com. This is Jeff Prather with the Prather Point on the Chips and Salsa Show on Center Right Live.
Thank you so much, Jeff. He always does a great, great job. You know, Sergio, right out of the bat, I hope you got to listen to that. Any comments? Because you know, you can be there in Congress with all those things. I'm happy. I'm happy that President Trump is on things.
You know, it's indicative of what he's doing to actually better the lives of Americans. I'm keeping a very close eye on him because, as in the grassroots know, I was a very vocal advocate for change. I think we were tired of the past 8 years of nothing, and what was being proposed and brought to the table between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton was a no-brainer. But as I was just as vocal, I'm going to be, you know, just as vocal if things aren't going the right direction for the American people. And so I think that what Mr. Prather is saying is dead on, and it's indicative of upcoming changes, and I hope that trend continues.
I think you're right on with that, and that's why it's so important. We need, in the Congress, we need some fresh blood. So, George, you take it away, because you were asking Sergio what he would do.
Vamos a estar unidos como uno, la gente hispana, right? The Hispanic community is going to unite like one, like we haven't done before in CD3, because they've only had one voice, which is Raul Grijalva's voice. Now they're going to have your voice. You're very fluent in Spanish. You're very articulate. You're a good conservative. What you want is to better the life of all the people who have been subjugated to just one form of political party. You're opening it up. They've had that chance before with a couple of candidates, but it didn't work out. People voted for Grijalva. He had it. It's like, you know.
But you know what you get right
there. It had to be somebody
because
strong. You're the strong candidate. You're the candidate. It's like what they say, the Manchurian candidate. You're the candidate that's going to open the people's eyes. And I think you're bringing a dream come true to a lot of people. What you're doing, it takes a lot of guts to run against somebody like Grijalva. But Grijalva has proven his socialistic ways over the years. And I think you could attest to that because you're from that area where he's from, right?
I didn't know anything about the military when I joined. My parents are first generation. I'm a first generation American, and so my parents are from Sonora, Mexico. And when I joined the military, it was funny because I got thrown in there, you know, fresh, new, not knowing anything about American exceptionalism and fighting for my country, so on and so forth. All I knew is that I was on a wrong path in life. And so when I joined, it's funny because my friend said, you know, you joined the infantry. Did you know that the infantry goes to war? And I'm like, do they really? The recruiter told me I got to play with guns. And who at 17 doesn't want to play with guns, right? Especially being a kid from the South Side. And so we joined, and I asked the recruiter on my way out, I said, hey, my friends told me that infantry goes to war. Is that true? And they said, oh, yeah, you know, they're front line, they're battle. But Desert Storm's already passed, you know, it's past the 90s. This is April of 2001. We don't foresee a war happening. You'll be okay. September 11 comes, I'm graduating from basic training, and we get hit at the World Trade Center. I remember it clearly because I was in the hospital. I did my road march with a fractured foot, my 25-mile road march to graduate. I hopped up on ibuprofen, and we did it. I mean, we pushed through, found myself at war, went to Iraq,
Okay, you're 17. Did you say you joined? You're 17?
17
So
years
did they have
old
to
when I
sign
joined.
for you? Your mom and dad had to sign
My
for
mom
you?
signed for me, yes.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Is this the
continue.
Army or?
Army.
This is the U.S. Army. Yes. So we went and we found ourselves in Iraq, 2003, 2004, at the height of the war. Habaniya, Fallujah, Ramadi, Tikrit. I mean, we saw it all. And so came back to the U.S., decided to launch a few things, become an entrepreneur, small business guy. My dad always took me to the swap meet every weekend to make ends meet. And, you know, we were a very poor family, and that entrepreneurial spirit stayed with me. And so I went and I did my own business, didn't try to rely on anybody, but I was lost. I was discharged from the military, didn't know where to go, what to do, and finally someone recognized me for having some sort of talent, thank God, and then sent me to the VA and got me treated. And so I did really well after that, and I decided to work statewide helping other wounded warriors through the Army Wounded Warrior Program after the Walter Reed incident. And then after that, everything just opened. I worked with Congresswoman Giffords on her Veteran Advisory Council. I still didn't know what politics was at that point in time. I just knew that I wanted to help other veterans. And one of the, you know, shockingly enough, one of the people that I went to for help for a wounded warrior that had brain damage, that had memory issues and was struggling with a visa issue, okay? I went to that congressman, the one that's supposed to be for the people, that one that's supposed to represent the Latino people, la gente, right? The voice of the people, Raul Grijalva. And you know what he did for us?
Tell us what he did.
He did zero, zilch, nada. Never lifted a finger. There's emails that I sent trying to meet with the congressman. There are communications back and forth. He would always cancel when it came time to meet to help this wounded warrior. And that just left a very sour taste in my mouth. I would never have imagined that I'm here today challenging Mr. Raul Grijalva for Congress, but that was a conduit as to what a representative should and shouldn't do. And so we fast forward a little bit, worked for some congressional campaigns. I'm now an elected school board member. I was a legislative district chair. I was a precinct committeeman, state committeeman, went to the national convention to vote for Trump, you know, who was our nominee at the time. And it just moved on from there. I worked for the state party where I met you guys. And I worked for the Republican National Committee as well, getting the vote out in the Hispanic communities. We started a victory office, the first ever victory office down in Nogales, Arizona. We had 500,000 phone calls go through in majority minority areas. So the Latino people are tired, they're motivated, and they're willing to come out and vote. And we just capitalized on that. We seized that, and we won every statewide office this last election. On top of that, I'm an elected school board member. I serve on the Sahuarita Parks and Recreation Commission. And I've also served on a Transportation Advisory Committee for Pima County, the Sales Tax Advisory Committee. We're no to taxes, you know, we're trying to keep taxes low. And also on Governor Ducey's Liquor Commission.
That's quite a resume that you have there. I like how you ended it with the liquor commission.
Hey, it's very indicative of some of the conflict that's going on out there, you know.
Wow. That's a fine political resume. And how old are you, Sergio?
I am 34 years old now.
Which is kind of, in this kind of world, that's a young whippersnapper, so to speak.
Young whippersnapper.
And now you are bilingual.
I am bilingual, soy fluente en español. Mis papás son de Sonora, hablo español muy bien, soy bilingüe y me voy a recibir como abogado en Derecho Internacional de la Universidad de Sonora, México.
Is that right?
So
how did you swing that in between everything you do? Did you do that online?
Just to translate to our viewers who aren't listening, I'm just about to graduate from the University of Sonora, Mexico in law, and international is the major study there. Because I have a business and I do international work, I think having a firm in Mexico, helping other people navigate the red tape there, and also people that want to do business here.
Sure.
There are a lot of business people that want to do business in Arizona, and if we can be a conduit to bring more jobs to this economy, I'm all for it.
I think that's terrific. So your parents are from Sonora. So you're first generation. You were born here.
Yes, born here in Tucson, Kino Hospital. For those of our viewers in Tucson, Kino Hospital used to exist. Then it became UPH. And so, yeah.
Nice. But you stayed in the area. You're very familiar with that part of Arizona. I want to jump real quick. We did have a challenger. Edna was in the last race, but
Edna
before
San
that,
Miguel.
Edna San Miguel, and then Gabby Sauceda Mercer.
Yes.
And I understand that you're getting maybe a little guidance from her as well.
Well, unfortunately, she can't endorse in this primary.
Right.
But one of the first things I did, these women, these females that stood up, Ruth McClellan, Gabby Sauceda Mercer, Edna San Miguel, I mean, they laid the groundwork and the foundation necessary for someone to come in and try and run and pick up that banner. I mean, Gabby just came short of approximately 9,000 or 10,000 votes. And when we looked at data, 40,000 of our own Republicans stayed at home for Gabby's election. So it's indicative of, we have a path that we know we need to follow. It's going to take all of us together to get there. Gabby needed help. I need help. And so I think that by capitalizing on what she's done, we can take this home, guys. I really do.
Yep.
And the fatigue that's out there on behalf of this corrupt congressman is good enough for us and good enough for people to stay home. They're tired of the corruption. They're tired of the lack of representation. There is no representation. If you look at the voting record, he voted 12 times. Okay? It has to settle a lawsuit with taxpayer money. Settle $50,000 of our hard-earned taxpayer money to keep someone quiet because he showed up to the workplace, inebriated or drunk or creating a hostile work environment.
Yes, quite a colorful character, isn't he? We're so delighted that you're here, and I don't want us to get away. And just to let our audience know, it's a little different show today. We are not going to have commercials, so we're just going to do it straight on.
Oh my
but
gosh.
you're not listening to public, PBS or anything. We just don't have the commercials with our technical little glitches here. But that's kind of better because we have more time to talk about and to talk to Sergio about this. Oh, I thought you would say something. But we're so delighted to have you here. So this is the first time, and we'll say again, but tell people how to get a hold of your website information and how to support you.
And volunteer, how to get people to volunteer for your campaign.
Most definitely. Our website is up and running. It's been up and running. I mean, we've been announced, running, gathering signatures, collecting contributions. You can reach, my website is Arellano for az.com. And it could be spelled out FOR. You could put the number 4. However you feel comfortable. We have tons of web domains that'll lead back to my website. So Arellano for az.com. Same thing with my Twitter handle, Sergio Arellano. Facebook, Sergio Arellano for.
Nice and easy. And I'm going to spell Arellano for the gringos out there.
Oh, yes.
Arrellano.
No, ma'am. It's Sergio
A-R-E?
and then Arellano.
Oh, did I misspell it?
Yes.
Oh, I gave you an extra R.
Yeah, a lot
you know
of people
why?
do
Because
that.
you're so Republican.
I think
That's
so.
what it is.
Yeah. Arellano. Yeah, that's close for the Republicanism. And so, you know, it's good, it's fresh, it's hip, but you can, the most importantly, you can sign up, you can get our newsletter first and foremost, so you know what we're doing. We're going to be in the communities, we're going to be knocking doors, we're attending events like this awesome Maricopa County meeting, there's a state meeting coming, quick little rollout, but I'm sure you guys will have fun. Come join us, check it out, and I'll be promoting through you guys and on Facebook, and we'll give you guys update. Go to the website, join us, and see what we have in store in the next coming weeks.
And your grassroots volunteers, how's it picking up from, because you're from all the way in Tucson, all the way over here into
what's your
CD3,
district?
Yeah, CD3 covers a lot of area.
CD3 is really big. You know, if you look at the demographic and the makeup of our district, 67% Hispanic. That's very
That's
big.
got to be the largest in Arizona. Is that the highest percentage
It's
of Latinos?
definitely the highest percentage, given that our state is 30%. So almost 30%. I think we're at 28, 29%. But our district runs all of Santa Cruz County. So if you think of Sonoita, Elgin, you know, where you get the good wine and you know.
We are with that liquor again. Okay.
They have vineyards. Hey, why do you think it's an
It's
indicative?
cool. It's
Hey,
cool, man.
I didn't say it. You're saying it. I'm running a pretty clean, decent campaign just to let the people know that they have a choice, and that one that won't take this position lightly. But it covers all of Santa Cruz County. It goes down to the border, okay, to Nogales. It comes back up and it picks up Arivaca. It picks up Tubac. It picks up the Tohono O'odham Nation. It covers Sahuarita, goes up to South Tucson, and then it branches out west all the way to Sassabee, Y, Ajo, then comes up through Gila Bend. It hits Phoenix, Avondale, Buckeye,
Your area, George?
and then it goes back down to the Yuma area, south of the Interstate 8, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have Luke Air Force Base, we have a sliver of the Marine Base out there in Yuma, and so I think it's good. It's good. It's a good district. I think there's a lot of variety, and it's amazing because I grew up there, and all of the work and all the outreach we've done is what gives us a leg up. I think that having worked from the ground as a precinct committeeman, well, as a volunteer, then a precinct committeeman, a legislative district chair, then working for the state party, and hitting those areas where our people, not just Latinos, but Americans, are being hit the hardest. Santa Cruz County has over 30%. That's actually, let me go this way. It's the third poorest county in the entire state of Arizona. And the reason it's the third poorest county is because the nations, the Native American nations, are first and second.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine that? That we have three poor, very poor, and this is third world conditions. And the only reason Santa Cruz County isn't third world is because of all the trade and the hub that we have. And it's privy to the most commercialized zoning in the entire state of Arizona. Anybody can go there and start a business with all the land and zoning that's available. So something that our representative hasn't done and should do is bring awareness to the potential for multiple job opportunities.
What's clear to me, Sergio, is that you know your district, and I know you've been down there on the ground, and like you said, you have talked to the people, and it's just I don't know if you can find a candidate necessarily. A lot of times, some people just, I want to run for office, I'm going to do it, but you have done so much of the groundwork already, and those people. Where I don't know if you're...
Hey, we're here. It's serious. When you go to these doors and you knock on doors and you talk to people, most of them have never even met a Republican in real life. They only see them on TV.
Do you hear that, Republicans? Do you hear that?
They've never met a Republican. They don't know who their governor is. They don't know who their... They might have heard of the senator through the TV, or they might have heard about the congressman when he's not in the, when he's in the news negatively. And so, part of it is just showing up and having that conversation. And the biggest assumption that people make is that Latinos and Hispanics only care about immigration. That is the number one error that a lot of people commit. Democrats, Republicans, activists alike. Hispanics, Latinos are not about immigration. They actually have the same cares and needs that we do. They actually want to have jobs. They want to have the best education possible for their kids. They want to have health care. And some of those kids have gone to the military and are coming out without help. They want help for their veteran kids, you know, nieces, nephews, so on and so forth. So they have the same cares that we do. Okay? So when you have that conversation and they say, oh, well, you're a Republican, you must be racist, or so on and so forth. Well, what gives you that impression? Tell me what it is. Oh, well, you don't care about health care, or you don't care about education, or you don't care about border issues or security. Whatever it is that they heard on TV, they don't bother to ask what stances we have. And when we tell them the stances we have, they're like, oh, I can line up behind that. Oh, I'm for border security. I'm for education. I'm for healthcare. You know, when we talked to them about the Obama mandate, they were pissed. They're like, why do I have to pay my insurance forcefully when I have this, this, and that? Or I can't even go to another state and grab an exchange. So one of the strategies, obviously, isn't to convince them to switch party registration. I don't say, hey, you should be a Republican because you sound like one. No. My message at the time, because now my message is going to be vote for me because I have a better solution. But at the time, the message is, this is what we stand for. And this is what they stand for. All I'm asking you is that you hear that candidate, that individual, or your representative out and make your vote based off of that and not what you hear out there.
Educating the populace.
Big
Okay,
time.
so you're, you know, people are tuning in, and thank you very much, Chipsters. And we have some questions that Sonia, our super duper executive producer now, handed me. They're coming from Facebook, so I'm going to give them to you. How's that, Mr.
Oh my
Sergio?
gosh, this is impromptu, huh?
Yeah, okay, so just to remind you, if you just tuned in, I'm Alice Lara, and this is Don Jorge.
Jorge.
We have no commercials today, so we have to remind you, you are listening to Center Right Radio, and today we have the privilege of a wonderful special guest, Sergio Arellano, who's running for Congress.
I have two questions.
Do you want me to get the Facebook questions first?
Yes.
If I would, maybe I'll get one
Yes.
and then you can have one.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I might
Because
have
I don't
one.
want to ignore that.
No.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so here's the first one. What's your view on immigration enforcement and amnesty?
Well, let me tell you this. Immigration enforcement, it has to happen. I mean, we can all agree as Americans that the system is broken because it isn't tailored to what's happening now. And the way I say it's broken, people say it's not broken, you just have to enforce the law. True. But we also have to make it easier for people that are doing the right thing to get into this country legally. Right now, if you have an aunt, an uncle, I mean, I have family members that are coming here the right way. They've been waiting for 15 plus years to come here the right way. I think that's a travesty. And what it does is it incentivizes other people to come here the wrong way. So we need to look at that and address it. There's also tons of policies. There are things that we can navigate, even through NAFTA, that will allow somebody that's looking for work to come here, get processed legally, and work here. But we're not doing the outreach and the awareness necessary for that. But when it comes to immigration policy, we obviously need to look at it. Yes, we need to enforce it. We can't reward the people that broke it, but we also have to provide a solution for those that are doing the right thing. And that is my stance. And when it comes to amnesty and all this other stuff, I agree that we have to secure our border first before looking at any other alternatives, before even considering amnesty. I'm not even looking at that right now. I want to be able to fix that border. I want to be able to stop the drug traffickers. I want to stop people from being taken advantage of in the border. Our own people are being suppressed at the border. A cousin of a relative of mine, okay? And because we're all related somehow, right?
That's true.
So the cousin of a relative of mine came over illegally. Of course, I didn't know this until it got found out. Came over illegally, and then we never heard from the family. Never heard from him ever again for like 6 months. What does that cause a family, or an uncle, or an aunt, or a grandma that says, I haven't heard from Mijo in 6 months. I called the jails, I called the hospitals. We don't know where he's at. You know what happened to this guy? He got caught by the cartel crossing illegally, and they said, you need to take this backpack full of marijuana across the border. And if you don't do it, we're going to shoot you dead right here. So he was forced to carry drugs. Then he got caught, and they sent him to prison. And they held him there. But these are people that aren't being informed as to what's happening in the dangerous situation.
And you don't hear these stories. And
You
this
do not
is
hear these stories.
directly from you, and you've been on the border, so you've seen that happening.
I've seen it happen.
Absolutely.
I see it day in, day out. And what our representative isn't doing, he isn't advocating for our safety. He's actually encouraging people to come here illegally and put their lives in danger. There are more explicit things like, very bad things happen on this border. You've heard of these trees that people hang undergarments
Yes.
on. I'm not going to go into,
The raping trees or something they call them.
it's a very bad thing that happens to people that cross here illegally. Why isn't, Raul Grijalva saying, guys, you guys are being hurt. You guys are dying out here. Please stop. No, he just encourages the flow. You can't do that. There are people dying out there. They're being held hostage for ransom. And then when they do finally make it here, then they get taken advantage of. Okay? They might not get paid for working for 2 weeks because they're working illegally and there's nowhere they can go. They might not receive, whatever it is, benefits. If they get beat up or whatever, abused, they have no protections because they're here illegally. How come nobody's raising that?
Well, and that's why you're a very important candidate. I want to stay on this issue just a little bit, too. I want to ask you, the DACA thing, we have to address that. And specifically, if you were in Congress right now, what would you be advocating? Or do you have a plan in mind, what you're for, what you're not?
I really don't have a formalized plan. I'm waiting to see what this Congress. Nothing's happening as to the promises that we've been receiving for these past few years. That's why I'm running. First and foremost is to go in there and wipe the slate if I can. I'm very practical and I will listen to the people. So I really can't give you a feel of what I would do because I'm waiting to see what the president has in store.
Well, one of the things, too, is talked about is build the border fence and getting rid of the chain migration. As you said, it's very unfair. You have somebody waiting and your family's trying to get citizenship for 15 years doing it legally. Meanwhile, somebody else just walks across and they're cool.
Correct. And they shouldn't be rewarded for that. And if something's going to happen, get back in line. Get to the back of the line. Let's get you the right way. But let's find a common sense solution and not something extreme. But, we'll be looking at it as it comes by. And we'll take into consideration so many things. I'm still learning. I don't expect to know everything. And I shouldn't know everything. Because apparently the person that does know everything or supposedly knows everything isn't doing squat.
How long has he been in office?
I have no idea. Total? Because he was also a school board member and a supervisor. You're looking at upward of 30 years?
Man, because I've been in Arizona probably about that much. And
Yeah.
he's been in there as long as I know.
Yeah, most definitely.
There's a couple more questions that's still on this topic,
Sure.
and then we can move on to
Yeah.
another one. But also from Facebook, I'll just give them both to you. Is he for a self-deportation program, the shut-off of incentives, and a mandatory E-Verify law?
Okay, so, once again, I'm not too familiar with policy, but Martha McSally just proposed something a few days ago where it implements E-Verify mandatorily. I'm in favor of that. If you're going to hire people, why wouldn't you run them through that check?
I thought we had.
We do have
E-Verify.
E-Verify, but it's not
You
mandatory.
don't have to do it.
So when I had a small business, as a small business owner, I used to have a bar and grill. And so there, I wasn't mandated to run E-Verify. We did it because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to get caught, with my hands in the pot, get fined,
Sure.
sanctioned, or whatever the situation is. So I'm all for mandatory E-Verify. And then what is the other thing that
And
you
then the other
mentioned?
part of you said, is he for a self-deportation program and the shut-off of incentives?
So, if I get this right, because I've been on the ground and I can speak from experience and people that I know, there aren't really incentives for someone that's here illegally. They can't apply for access or health care or food stamps. I mean, you have to establish residency, I think in Arizona for 5 years or something like that. Even when you are a resident, even when you do get your resident status, you can't get benefits for a few years. I don't know the correct, amount of time, but I think it's 3 to 5 years that you should be here. So I don't see many incentives out there that they speak of. I really can't address that. Maybe you can bring some clarity.
Because here's what I've always thought of. My home state of New Mexico, the land of enchantment, it's where I was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I understand you can get driver's license there if you're an illegal person. So if they get a driver's license there, then they move to Arizona. You know what? For all we know, I mean, is there anything that tells us that they're illegal? They have a driver's license from New Mexico. Do you know if the deal on that?
So I think, once again, we're getting to state law.
See, I'm giving you all the stuff to mull over and find out.
We're getting into state law once again.
But they come and they move here. They move to Arizona.
But state law dictates that they have 10 days to change their driver's license and update the records here when you're living in the state of Arizona. So if someone gets pulled over and the police officers doing their job, I've had multiple questions asked of me when I get pulled over. If I get pulled over, they'll ask me, because I used to have a Douglas, Arizona address. And so they find me in Phoenix and they'll say, well, do you still live in Douglas? Well, no, I live in Sarita. Why would I lie to...
No, but I'm saying if you have a New Mexico license, you just go and apply for an Arizona license. Would they refuse you an Arizona license?
I think you have to show proof. See, once again, it's state law. But I think you have to show a birth certificate or proof of citizenship when you apply for a driver's license, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember that I had when I moved, but I could be wrong. Then
I think I did when I first got my driver's license. I had to show my birth certificate. Look, I'm here.
Okay, well.
So, I don't know. I really couldn't answer that.
That law class that you're taking, is it online course?
In Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, online.
Oh, okay, because I was wondering. I was like, he's had to cross over to go and come back. It was like,
yes.
No, so it's online. Yeah,
it's online, and but there are times that I have to go there.
Oh, really?
I would go there. Yeah, most definitely.
I want to ask, what about the Latino studies? They're bringing that topic back up in Tucson.
Mexican American studies.
Mexican American.
I came at the tail end of that. I do know that I saw a little bit of the curriculum, and that curriculum was the wrong answer. It was made to build resentment for being a Hispanic. It was made to build resentment towards Anglos, as they would dub them, white people. And so I remember growing up in the hood, in my neighborhood.
In the barrio.
Yeah, in el barrio. There was a narrative about how the white man's trying to keep you down. And so it was just, circulating, and I think they try to instill that into that type of curriculum. I'm all for learning about your heritage if you want to make it an elective, but don't distract from education of our kids and our youth. If they want to take that as an elective or as a choice, don't make it mandatory, because odds are you're not going to use that in the real world, okay? You're going to want to learn maybe a trade if school isn't for you, or you maybe want to go to higher education and get that degree or that diploma or become a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor, so on and so forth. So I don't see why that has to be implemented as mandatory. I think it should be an elective, and if it is, it shouldn't be tailored to build resentment towards other ethnicities and other groups of people.
Isn't part of it is they're trying to revise history to make it seem like, I don't know.
John Ward, who was, I don't know, you probably recognize that name, but he was a teacher down in that district. And he actually did they were actually, the students that were from Mexico, I remember him telling the story, they say, that's not true what they're teaching. I mean, they were even saying they had grown up learning the real history.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and I'm so glad that you feel the way about that you do, because as I'm of Mexican heritage too. I think I'm like third or fourth generation, but we have a very strong, beautiful history, and that just exploits it and makes us something that we're.
And they
we're
get
not.
the young minds, and they try to twist their thinking, and that's not right, because school is to be taught the proper history of our country. And there's parts of history that we did battle, or there were battles and stuff that were fought, but they try to change history, and these professors, by what I understand, the curriculum was totally revisionist history, and it was more famous in Tucson. The other question on the wall, I guess you do agree that there should be some kind of barrier put up to stop the leak or stop the flow. After that, then they could talk about immigration.
Most definitely, man. Build a wall, build a virtual wall, build whatever wall you need to implement there. And here's the funny thing. When people ask me and they say, are you for the wall? Being that I'm from a border community, you know what I see when I go down to Nogales? I see a wall.
Yeah.
I see a wall there. So when you have these people saying, oh, no, wall, what are you talking about? There's a wall there now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go, educating people again about reality.
I'm
Who do you
telling
think you are?
Why do you try to hijack the truth, right? And the truth is, there are walls all along the border already. Now, there are issues where you cannot build a wall. So what do you do there? How do you enhance it? Because the terrain is rugged, it's screwed up, and you cannot physically build a wall there. So what's the solution? I say we put more security in place, sensors, technology. We have amazing technology that can cover that. At this point in time, there isn't any. Because if you go and you visit the border, and I encourage people to take a guide, don't go by yourself because, holy jeez.
Ask Sergio to go with you.
Hey, I'll go with you. Let's do it. On a serious note, though, you can look up videos and documentaries that there's a secure wall, big, tall, you can't get over it. Although we've seen in the news, people still get over it. So whether there's a physical wall or not, people are still going to find a crafty way to do it. But we run out of wall a certain amount of miles east of the Nogales border. And then what happens? Then you get Normandy-style barriers. But there's nobody watching over that. Lack of funding on behalf of the Obama administration. They stripped away our security. And they made Border Patrol officers, our poor men and women, they underfunded them, taking risks in their lives, and then they made it so that because they're so underfunded, they can't even cover the areas that need to be covered. And I think that's the wrong answer. And so after Normandy-style barriers, then you turn into mesquite sticks with one strand of concertina barbed wire. You know, one of my friends jokingly, one time that we went there, he said, I can cross this border in 5 seconds, be here, cross into Mexico illegally in 5 seconds and come back to the U.S. And he just grabbed the little stick, picked it up, moved it, walked into Mexico. Now he's there, puts it back down. That's the type of place that needs to be secured. So if you can't physically build a wall, put some sort of security measure there. And once again, I'm all for it. Let's stop the inflow of all the bad, nasty things coming into the United States of America.
Sergio Arellano, I think what I'm hearing from you is you are a person who wants to get things done. Now, we are down to our 8 minutes.
Oh, so my gosh.
First
Time
of
flies
all,
when you're having fun.
Yeah, we've got to do the cocotazos. So give out your information once again, and then we're going to do the cocotazos.
Yes. So you can find me at Arellano for AZ.com. That's ARELLANO for AZ.com. You can find me on Twitter, Sergio5941. And you can also reach me on all types of social media on Facebook, Arellano for Congress, or Sergio Arellano.
And I also want to make a plea. I like to do this with candidates. You know, maybe we have people that listen to us from California, New Mexico, around the country. Because first of all, I have a big family, and that's, you know, familia. They're loyal. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But Sergio goes to Congress. He will represent you because he represents the nation as a whole. So if you've got a few bucks that you want to throw his way and help him, you can certainly do that. You know, you can send 20 bucks if you live in New Mexico or Colorado, because if you think that he could represent you well, why not? I think it would be well invested, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100, whatever you like. So I just want to throw that little pitch in there. All right, Sergio, we thank you so much for coming in. We want you to help us pick the cocotazo of the week. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
All right, we're gonna repeat them again, and I want to thank Sonia because Sonia does a great job. I kind of through the week, George and I post stuff, we see stuff, You know, our chipsters. George Ortell came up with one this week too, so we appreciate that, and we just post them. So you can go to our page, Chips Letter N Salsa Show, and while you're there, of course, like the page, and we try to just accumulate them. And good old Sonia, she she puts them on a list for us to help us. And thank.
Count on his support when we go into this general, and I think it's very indicative of the level of support we have, and you know, other people are being invited to come on board, and so
Great. Well, he's a
let's
Republican, I presume.
most definitely.
It's always
He's the
welcome here.
legislative district 2 chairman, actually, and
Very
so he was
nice.
up here for your county meeting to observe
wow.
things going on, and so I just happened to run into him, and I said, Mr. Damien Kennedy, you can watch me go on the radio and talk to all these chipsters with
Right on.
the legendary,
And
Jorge Ortiz.
because I'm a chairman too of LD 19.
Oh, great.
Now, and Brandon, who's usually here, he's chairman of LD Legislative District 27. Now, people could still help you by knocking on doors,
Of course.
getting out the vote,
Yes.
introducing. If it's just you and Edna running, whoever it is running in the Republican Party, they could introduce the people.
Yeah.
And then,
most
of
definitely.
course, the more knocks on the door you get, the more volunteerism you get, and then after the primary for the general, then it comes
full
out
speed ahead. Most
full
definitely.
speed ahead.
And please keep us posted when you're in town. You have an open invitation.
Thank
Just
you so much.
come by. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. So let's quickly go through these, George, okay?
Okay.
So we had Democratic Representative Al Green launches a second effort to impeach Trump. They want to impeach him. Doctors issue warning over dangerous social media challenge, eating the Tide Pods, those little pods of detergent, which I think that's gross and disgusting.
Ouch.
And I think you can die if you eat those. So I don't know. That's a dumbing down of society or what. Nancy Pelosi, she made a 5 white guys comment, but you know, that's okay. She can say whatever she wants, right? Number 4, woman takes Christmas tree back to Costco. It's dried out. She still gets her money back. That's 10 days after the 25th. Man, Costco. I went to Costco this week. I love them. Disturbing allegations emerge as a list of accusers grows against actor James Franco. Robert De Niro lambasts Trump in speech awards at gala. Watch that if you want. I mean, you know what? I think he's a good actor, a great actor.
Mm.
But my God, that speech, every other word has an F word in it. Did you watch it, George?
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness. A weekend parts ways with H&M over racially insensitive about the monkey in the jungle sweater, black monkey. Attempted robbery at a Chinese restaurant foiled due to language barrier. And Oprah's solution to racism, old white people just have to die.
That's my favorite one.
That's your favorite? Okay,
Yeah.
which one are you picking?
Well, if it's up to the guest, you need a cocotazo for eating Tide Pods. I mean, who the heck? Is that like a challenge or something? You know, they
Yeah.
come up with these outrageous
They're on
things.
YouTube and Facebook, right, Sonia?
Yeah.
Oh,
Be foaming at the mouth.
foaming at the mouth. That's a good one, George. Ah.
And I know, you know.
Wash your mouth out with soap. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
and I
really-
know
good.
detergent is in high demand. I think they were using that like to trade for drugs or something like that at one point in time. Do you
Oh.
remember that?
Oh,
There
yeah,
was
you're
some
right.
scandal.
I
Yes.
remember that.
People were shoplifting detergent to use it as currency. That's what it was.
That was the new Bitcoin of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know what? Okay, so let's see. Sonia, do you have a favorite you want to pick?
The
And
Tide
that
Pod.
number-
The Tide. What about you, Steve Palmer?
Yeah, I would say between the Tide Pods and
And could it be a chanclazo? Because, you know, I grew up with the chanclazo.
I know, me too.
Yeah,
I never knew what a
chanclazo.
cocotazo was.
Yeah.
You guys had the
A
chanclazo.
cocotazo is good because you know, feel like a
Yeah.
coconut, but
It just sounds like, you know, kooky.
yeah,
Cocotazo.
yeah, it sounds funny.
All right, Mr. Kennedy back there, you have a selection?
Well, being as a token white guy in the room, I would say the Oprah thing.
The Oprah? Yeah, the Oprah one's good too. Okay, you know what, man? There's so many here, but I am still just that Tide Pods. Yeah. So it looks like,
Tide.
yeah, it looks like Tide has it. Yeah.
5-1, brother. I'm sorry, George.
Don't eat them. Don't eat them. We're sorry.
Don't
Okay,
eat
George,
those. Don't eat those Tide Pods, people.
please, yeah, use them on
Get
your
a
laundry.
cocotazo. I'll come to your house and give you a cocotazo.
Hey, next week I think we may be having Kelly Ward, but for sure we're having
wow.
Ronnie Jimenez is going to be back. By the way, Sergio was our military moment. We thank you so much for your service.
Thank you so much.
Someday you got to come back and we'll just talk about that. for like
Please,
the whole
I'd
hour.
love to share some stories with you. I have some exciting stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I bet.
my son was in Kuwait recently, and then now he's in Okinawa. He
Oh,
was in
man.
the army.
I'll talk
He's
to him
in the
about
army.
dust storms and eating chow during the dust storm.
Oh, he'll probably
Wow.
remember that. It's like a lot of dust
Mr.
storms over
Guess.
there.
But
So-
we thank Chipsters for tuning in.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
back with us next Saturday at 4 p.m. Thank you, Super Sonia, Secret
And our
Sonia.
technical advisor will be here, Brandon.
Brandon will
I
be back. Thank you, Steve Palmer. Thank you, studio audience, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you, Sergio Arellano, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. Once again, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. You guys are legendary. Everybody talks
Ah.
about you got to be on Chips and Salsa. So I'm here, guys.
You know,
finally.
we're gonna have to do a podcast from Tucson one of these days.
Most
Just,
definitely.
thank
Count
you.
me in.
and then have a little crowd of people out there from Tucson and just have a nice audience and have Sergio and
Right on.
We'll
and,
even take you to the legendary border fence, so you guys can take a
You
look.
know
at
yeah,
what?
that would be
I
great.
would like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've been in El Paso. I've lived in El Paso, so I know that part. But
So,
I've never
yeah.
been down.
Those are things to look forward to, people,
That
because that's what Sergio's bringing. You know?
Yeah.
Because we went last year one time to
Did you go to the border?
Tucson. No, we went to Tucson.
Yeah, I went to Tucson. I was like, I
Well,
thought
if
I
it's
went
up to
the
the federal government, Tucson is the border.
That's
you know.
boy, ain't that
Oh,
true?
yeah.
Ain't that true?
That's not good.
But thank you so much for listening. I'm Alice Lara here with Don Jorge.
Don Jorge.
Until next Saturday at 4 p.m. But please follow us on Facebook on the Chips and Salsa Show Facebook page.
And I won't be coughing next week. I'll get rid of this little cough.
Yeah, me
right?
too. We'll try
Yeah.
not to sound like this anymore. All right. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we'll be with you next weekend. Thanks.
Okay, good.